So, I'm running this workshop on coding with AI, and I wanted to go over the little app I made for the demo, essentially. I'm going to be more or less walking through making this live with some, instruction on the spot and all that. But I also just wanted to do a live version of that, not live, but improvised recording of me sitting down to build the same thing sort of from scratch. So let's do that. I think both versions are good, because this is me without any distractions, without like improvising new ideas or whatever, just kind of doing the full task. So what is the task? What are we trying to do? We're trying to go from a blank page to a small, like single page, single file web app. Super dumb, simple, like web page more than anything, but we'll use some JavaScript because it's programming, right? The idea that we're trying to get at here is doing some coding. And the example is simple so that we can, I can talk through it and it won't take an eternity to get there. But the ideas we'll try to, I'm going to try and touch on a whole bunch of the different AI interaction principles that you would bring to the table anytime you're trying to work with AI. So let me switch over. So, I'm sure you're overwhelmed. Here's a code editor on the left, an IDE. So this is VS Code. It has an AI chat panel open, and it also has the code that we're looking at open for the website in question. Now, I'm going to delete all this, or at least close it and do a new file. And we're going to do everything from scratch, but just giving the quick walkthrough. The app is a dead simple app that is essentially one of those kind of single-use websites you saw like 15 years ago or some shit. The idea is titled Jacket or Not, and that's, should I go outside? If I go outside, should I bring a jacket or not? Super dead simple app idea. It's more style than function, but it does a thing, right? It collects weather data and it uses that to drive some behavior on the page. And that's a simple guy. So building that would involve HTML, CSS, JavaScript, all of these things. And that's what's in this file right here. And some of you might be like, oh my God, 3 languages. It's fine. Don't worry about it. You know it, guy. Also, some of the folks here might be a little more seasoned, and don't worry, you're encouraged to do your own thing with these tips. But we're going to walk through the simplified demo first. So, how is this functioning? What is this doing? So the idea is when I open this page, here, I'll even reload it. Oh, wait, that's right. I moved to a new area. Let me pop that open. Can I open you? Open in your default browser. Okay, so the first thing this page does, you can't see this, unfortunately. This little location thing is doing a pop-up, and it's asking, hey, do you want me to let this local file access your location? So we wrote the file, or we used AI in concert. We know what the file does, right? So you'd say, I say allow. That allows this tool to go get, here, I'm going to close that. It allows it to go get the current weather, and it gives you a quick tip. Here it is. Let's say you were reloading this. This might be more like if you had a little smart device, a simple display that's giving you a quick tip. In reality, you'd probably want to do something with AI at this point. Have it describe the weather to you. But we ain't doing that. We're looking for the simple stuff. So what it's doing is it's going off to Open Media API, which is here, can we get that open? Yeah, API docs for the weather. We can get all kinds of information. Let's say we just want we want the temperature, maybe the relative humidity and the dew point, and we want it for. I'll just let it use the default. What is that? Probably Cupertino or something, or Greenwich Mean Time. But Daily weather variables. Yeah, whatever. So for now, oh wait, what was this up here? Hourly. Well, let's get the temperature for the current weather. Relative humidity, apparent, whatever. We've taken a bunch of ideas here. So now we're gonna reset this bit. And well, oh, here it is. So here's a chart. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we're seeing the temperature and the relative humidity and the dew point over time, which is cool. I guess the hourly data is what retrieved that. So here's the chart. Here's how you would get this chart information from the API. This is like the call you would do. And that's what the kind of stuff we're doing already in this existing code. And so you want to, if you want to do something like this, write a chart, that's a lot. Let's go back to just give me the current data. Let's just see what that looks like. Yeah, okay. Simpler. This is closer to what we've already seen, right? In my dumb little app, right? So this is actually, do we have the, yeah, I think I'll open this in a new tab. So this is literally the API call, and this is the data object that it gives back. And what we're doing is we're talking about like what information is available from this API. And the decision I made for this app was all I really needed was the temperature. So you can see the temperature right now in Celsius is 41.4 degrees, wherever this is. We can look that up or something. But so my app idea was relatively simple. This was sort of what I see. I said, okay, I understand what this API can offer me. And I want to make this dead simple app that will just tell me whether or not I need a jacket or like a winter coat or something. And so what I did from here is I began brainstorming with the AI. And I think what we're going to do now is we're going to not switch chat, new chat. Empty the AI chat, and we're going to just start a new file. We ain't doing... We're going to do a text file. Well, what I want to do, let me go ahead and Control S, save it somewhere. I don't think you can see that. Okay, that's fine. We're going to do jacket or not. Video version, right? So now what we want is, I'm gonna again do this. Oh, it thinks it's a text file. Oops. I need to fix that. Let me go get it. Okay, I'll just rename it. It'll work. It's an HTML file we're trying to bake. So now I'm going to open there. Empty HTML file. We've named it, and we're going to build something that uses this API and this data. In fact, all the data we really need for this guy is the temperature. A more interesting one would be able to do something like with more of the data. In fact, there's a ton of data here, and you can mess around and click different things to see what you get back in the response. So let me try again. Open a new tab. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so this is the page that works. Let's just bail on that one, and let's open this guy in default browser. So there's nothing in here, which makes sense. It's an empty page. But now this page is ready for when we're developing. So we have the actual page open, and we have our code editor. We are ready to develop something. So what we want to do is talk to our AI friend here. And in fact, I have a voice chat plugin installed on VS Code. That'll probably be the best way to do this. Hey, I'm trying to get... Oh, wait. Hey. Okay. Hey, I'm trying to get a very simple single page... Why did you stop? It was filtered... What? Okay, hey, I'm trying to get... Okay. I wonder if it thought I was being horny. So... Hey, I would like to write a simple single-page web app. Motherfucker. I'll just type it. I'm looking to make... Oh, man. It's going to show all of it, isn't it? It's fine. Actually, that's annoying. Let me undo the... What's it called? Stream... No. Screencast. No? Wait. Control-Shift-P. Screencast mode. Let's turn that off. I'll put it back on later. So, I'm looking to make a simple single-page web app. What we're doing here is brainstorming what we can even do, right? That uses the OpenMedio API and does something interesting with the available weather data. But I'm trying to figure out what that thing is exactly. Help me brainstorm ideas that would work in standalone files that would be useful or interesting. I say standalone files, what I mean there is just trying to write all the code at once, and I keep that idea in mind throughout the prompt. What are we doing here? We're starting the process of thinking about what we want our app to be, right? I'm showing how you can interface with this to help get ideas on the table when you are still brainstorming what you're doing, right? Can it see it? It sees nothing. Okay. Wait. Okay, weather-based outfit suggestions. So that's like literally what I did. I probably can see quote jacket or not. Yeah, it can see that. So it went right there. I didn't explicitly say what we're doing, but it saw that in the workspace. So it's like, okay, so outfit suggestions, great. A weather dashboard, cool, simple stuff where you could just be like, let me show a bunch of the things that they have in the API on my own page. Great. And you know, it gives a ton of options. I'm not even interested in half of these, most likely. And right now I'm not, because I'm trying to like do each of these steps, right? But this brainstorming step is, I mean, look how many directions you have in front of you right now. And this is great for like kind of shoving you into productive mode if you're sort of like, I'm not sure what I'm doing. And yeah, I'm doing a dumb version of this where like, I don't even know what app I want to make. Like that's kind of, that can be a problem, but that's not usually the main issue, right? You know what you're doing, you're just looking for approaches. So this is kind of that, just with no common goal. So if you wanted to include a goal, you know, if I told it that I wanted to make jacket or not, the thing that we already sort of have, I'm actually thinking right now, mid-video, that we should do something more interesting. So, weather comparison tool. Sure. How about that? I like the weather comparison tool idea. I like the weather comparison tool idea. Let's turn that into what am I looking for? Let's turn that idea into a super basic single file HTML page with some comments templating the basic structure of the app. Now, I'm not giving it my own thoughts right now, and because I haven't thought about it deeply. What are we trying to do? Weather comparison. So let me add some more details. So what we're doing right now is we are trying to get sort of a punt towards a version, an entire version of the file that will most likely work and at least like function. It will do most of the work. And it might not get all the way to what we want, but it is getting us to a sort of a quick lump of clay that we can work with. So, but we can define things that we know are going to be in there. So I'd like two inputs for different places on the Earth. I'd like those inputs to use a map as an interface where we can drop pins. Now, that's ambitious of me. I'm throwing in, hey, let's use a map. What can you do? Haha. Not the hardest thing in the world to think of, right? We right now can conceive of what that might be. That's why I'm imparting it to the model. I can conceive of this as, okay, there's a world map, and you can drop 2 pins somewhere on it, and then we will retrieve data about those 2 places and contrast them. So we can drop pins. How about that? I did have, just now, ideating with the camera, rubber ducking, I came up with the idea of like, oh, well, how about the layout? So the layout should feature the world map at the top, clicking on the map should somehow, for now I'll leave it less specified, place, no, maybe not somehow, how about, let's go with click on the map, should place the pin for each X or lat long position. And then the layout. You don't have to correct typos, and in fact, I won't, just because it'll be clear. So position below that, we should see 2 panels, half width of the map, contrasting their current weather. So I've just kind of gone off on a creative tear as far as I was able to sort of punt myself and said, this is the thing I'm looking for. I expressed it. It took me a little while to express it in words, but expressing it in words tends to help anyway with what you're doing. So now I've got this. Let's see what it produces when I ask this question to more or less, I think this is GPT 4.0. Copilot uses that by default. It's their whole flagship thing they're doing. So, yeah. So it has, wow, look at it. It's doing a good job of documenting everything. Great. So its response is, here's a basic HTML template for the weather comparison tool. With comments to guide you through the structure. This template includes a map interface for selecting locations and 2 panels for displaying the weather comparison. Lovely. It's expressing up front that it has like received the message and it's relaying it back to me, and then it goes ahead and writes the code. So there's nothing in our file right now. Let's see what this does. I'm gonna just hit, there's a few options here in the VS Code plugin specifically. Something to remember about all of this development stuff with AI is that you are always essentially just copy pasting text. That's like what you're doing. There's a lot of tools that make that easier because the AI is an entity made entirely of text, right? It's a language model. So all it ever does is take text in and spit text out. But the way that we populate the text that we put in there is all like these fancy bells and whistles that you get in these things. So I'm just trying to slip this code out of what the response said and put it over here. This is known as a code fence. It's a triple backticks, gives you like, it looks like code in Markdown world. And that's a good way to get things kind of sectioned off in a lot of chat systems like this one. So if you ever want something that's like, hey, write me this document up, you can say, hey, put it in a markdown fence, and this is what it will do. then it's easy to copy out and things like that. So I just copied it right over. So now this block of text is now the code in the editor. And so this template includes a map at the top using leaflet.js. Let's see if that worked. 2 panels below the map for displaying weather data, comments to guide you through the structure and functionality. Okay, great. I love that. It's walking me through the code it just wrote for me, which is important. It's received the message that like we're trying to do a map with panels. So let's hit save. Let's hit reload. Well, look at that. Well, look at that. Click. There's one. Click. There's another. Look at that. The weather right now in, is that Brazil, is 0. Or maybe that was Congo. Where am I? I have no idea. Hey, dude. This is kind of where it's like, God damn, you did it. Sometimes I don't expect it to do it, and it does it. So it's good stuff. So cool. I mean, apart from this being a really basic page, dang, it's a little. Let's see. Can I squish it? No, it doesn't squish. That's okay. That's the kind of stuff we can ask for edits. But good stuff. And I hit Control-Shift-I. This is something that's important to do when you're developing. This is the inspector that lets you dig into your code on the site. It lets you see what the HTML is. It lets you see what like is happening with the output logs from the JavaScript executions. This is an important place to hang out. It's done a great job though. Gotta say, once again, I'm impressed with like it just went for it and it succeeded. So let's give ourselves a walkthrough of the code, because shit, it works. Now it's our job to make sure we get what it's doing. Now I haven't done any iteration with it, and we could. In fact, maybe we should. Let's pick. Yeah, before I move on to like fully documenting and explaining code, let's, you know, this kind of interchangeable steps. It probably is better practice to explain the code first. Let's do that. So, this is a regular HTML file. It has 3 main sections that people care about. The style section, the actual structure of whatever the app is, the HTML structure of like what objects exist, like are there paragraphs, are there images, what are there inputs, all these things. And then the script of how the system interacts between those things, right? When we click on this site, things happen on it, right? So right now, the functionality is a single click, and we get all these errors over here. Not errors, they're like warnings, like, hey, you're using an old function, it won't be updated forever. I'm in the Northeast somewhere. It's not quite where I'm at, you don't get to know right now, but it's that region, and let's go somewhere, you know, Utah. So my region, it's 18 degrees Celsius right now. Shit, what does that mean in Fahrenheit? Stupid imperial brain. Current wind speed, we're getting some over there. And then the weather is 3. I think that means cloudy. No, I don't know. This is the kind of stuff that we have feedback on for the app. But yeah, so when you click things, that's when the JavaScript is executing. That's when code happens. This is when you are actually triggering execution of code, and that's sort of what we're really here for. So, but all of this is code. All of it is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code. Different types of lines of code. So we're developing, baby. So let's do the quick walkthrough because it's not too long, and then let's talk about things that we might ask the robot to revise for us. So let's see here. Let's keep it like this. Okay, in HTML, you do a lot of like setup stuff. You declare the document type. You declare that we are using HTML, like English version or whatever. And like this is now the HTML object. We eventually close that at the end. You do the head of the HTML object. You got your meta stuff. You got your title of the page, like it says weather campaign up there, right? Then we have the style. Let's skip the style for now and come back after we talk about at least the body and the way things work down there. So the body, the divider's full of content. Excuse me, sir. So we have one div that represents the map. So this object, and what we can do here in our console, go to the inspector, and you can see, here, let me squish that down a bit. I'm trying to make this large enough text so it's kind of small. I mean, what we can see, adjusting some things, is here's the body, here's the map div, right? The div ID map. Over here, it's not populated with anything. It will be after these other code files run, right? And it succeeded. It was able to make that happen. Okay, we also have the weather container. So there's weather panel 1, weather panel 2. Let's see those using this little clicking button, the little arrow pointer that says, hey, you can highlight stuff with me. So now we've got, let me scroll down. That's one of the divs, the weather panel 1, and this is weather panel 2. So we have 3 main areas on our simple app, and they're letting us do that thing that we asked to do, which is compare the weather in 2 places. Cool. How does it do that? That's the next question. So we have the structure. We have very little like CSS going on here. It did some things nice, like the weather panels are less than half the width of the thing, so they'll slot down together just naturally. It did some inline stuff. We can get all kinds of crazy with this, but for now we can hold off. So let's see here. So now we're in the script. There are 2 scripts here. So the AI used this script called Leaflet. I'm not fully sure what Leaflet does, so that's something I might ask the AI. I haven't looked it up myself. It's clearly doing some kind of like so I guess it's attached to OpenStreetMap. That's cool. Right. So, mapping tools out there in the world, and it went and it just that's something you can do in JavaScript, which is nice, is that you can just import scripts from anywhere on the internet that you want. So this package is helping us out. This Leaflet package is helping us out. I didn't ask it to. It just was like, well, you want a map? Fine, I'll do this. And it did. So let's take a little walk through in the code, and I will, at the same time as you, learn what each thing in the code does, right? So initialize the map. Great. So we're setting a new variable, and I think L must be part of Leaflet. Oh, wait, no, L map. That's Lambda, isn't it? Initialize the map. This line is initializing the map. So I'll map with map in it. Let's see. Centered on the world. Let me reload the page and see what it does with that. Okay. That's fine. All right. So it adds the map tiles. Okay, so it's doing like the basic map tiles available in Leaflet. These are things that if I want to fully understand them, I should ask about them in a chat. So I'm going to take this. Is there a quick way to do this? Can I shove it into... I'll just copy it. There's no reason not to. So, hey, explain a bit more about how these work. I don't know much about Leaflet.js. Sure, let's break down the code snippet. So it's initializing the map. L.map initializes the new Leaflet map and binds it to the HTML element ID map. Okay, so because this thing is named map, this is going, oh, I will bind to that. Great. So now we're seeing more. I'm learning something new from the model because it used a package I wasn't used to, and now I'm sort of understanding what it's doing. So it's creating a map and it's binding it to the page. Cool. It sets the initial view of the map on, I guess it's the center, right? It does say that. And then adding the tiles, this creates a new tile layer using OpenStreetMap tiles. So it's fetching tiles for the map, which is neat. A lot of things happening here. Attribution, copy, OpenStreetMap contributors, cool. And then add to map, adds a tile layer. Okay, so these first two lines, I've learned a little bit more. I'm not going to stop on every one of them, but I wanted to show, you know, if there's something that you want clarified, take it over there. Take it right into the chat. Variables to store the markers, of course, we'll need those. We would need a place to store each of the data markers. Map on, so this is an event. We are defining what's going to happen after an event. Function to handle the map clicks, right? So when a click happens on the map, I can explain this one. We define this function here. This is what will happen. If we don't have a marker 1, then grab the lat and the latitude and longitude, and give me that as the data in this marker. So it's a position. And then also, as soon as we define a position, let's watch it happen. We're going to fetch and display the weather data. So I click there, it fetched and displayed the weather data, which is great. It immediately updated the page. We haven't seen how it updates the page yet, but that's to come. So on that first click, the marker is set, and I think it also adds a marker to the map. Yeah, so this is like the event has some properties, and when I click the mouse, the event is the latitude and the longitude are stored here. I don't even know if it has anything else. Yeah, it just has lat long. Great. That's all we're using. So we take the latitude and longitude here, we save it in the marker, and then we fetch the weather data with the latitude and the longitude. Oops. And we're telling it your destination is going to be go to weather panel 1, which is this one, right? We recall. Boom. So, great. Let's do that. Let's go to the fetch weather data function. So this one has great. This is where we take the initial data we've been working with on this map, and we're going to use it. So we needed the latitude and the longitude, and we needed the panel ID, like what's the target, which panel are we going to edit. Cool. So the fetch is, hey, go to the internet and get this information from someone. And this might look familiar now. This is the Open Media API, right? The thing that would give us this data blob is now instead going to give it to our web page on the back end in like the code in the data. So it's going to go and grab the current weather. And right now, the current weather for this latitude and longitude is retrieved here. And let's see. The response we're going to get from that API, and we're going to smush it into JSON, I suppose. JSON being a data format, like a universal data format that it is fairly clean. So now we're going to, yes. So now that we have data available from this call, we are going to now finally add it back to the page, right? We have set up the pipeline to put it back here. So let's see, document get element by ID. So we're looking for whichever panel was named here, right? The panel that we named in this function was, if it's marker 1, we're looking for weather panel 1, so the first one. And so now we have this panel ID, so we find that element, and we're going to change its inner HTML to this, right? It's going to be a header 3, weather for this position and this position. I think 2 fixed means like 2 decimal point values, so they're numbers, right? And we're displaying them as values here. And then data.currentweather.temperature. So that's the temperature from this specific. Yeah, wait, which one is? Yes. So the current weather dot temperature for this position, current weather dot wind speed for this position, and current weather code for this position. These are the things that we want to change quickly, I think. So we've done a full walkthrough of the code now, and I think that, you know, that's it, right? If I click somewhere and I'm able to get information for it, it's pretty friggin' cold in Antarctica. That makes sense. And the weather there is 3. I'm not sure what that means still. And that's kind of the problem with this app. So we've done a walkthrough, and now we kind of get what's happening here, right? We get what this model has written for us, and we sort of get some things about it. It is truly very simple, right? It is not built to scale. This is not like an array of elements doing something. It's just like an element that exists. We couldn't compare 50 spots with this right now. But that's not necessarily the goal, right? And I think that our goal in this video is to maybe polish this up and do a couple more fun things with AI, and then say it's done, ship it. I made compare two places dot weather or whatever. So okay, a couple more things. So what I'll say is, like, this actually did a pretty good job of documenting this for me. I was able to follow it along at the levels of signposting it did, and in fact, a lot of these were unnecessary. I did need to dive deeper on some of the leaflet stuff to understand it, but another thing you can just do is you could take the whole damn thing, and you don't even need to put it right back here. Wait, I don't even need to copy. Like, a normal pattern with chat AI is you're copying things and pasting them. But I do want to show off some of the basic features of this. So, I guess I'll just keep the same chat. No, I'm going to do a fresh chat. I think I need to show that more. Fresh chats help reset the progress. I mean, it doesn't remember anything, right? The model is stateless. It does not remember your conversations unless you send it your conversations, right? So starting fresh is really good because it can clear the palette. It will know you're talking about something fresh. It will not come in with like old ideas that you were trying to leave behind in the chat, right? It's good to sort of blank the slate sometimes. So, I think it might already know what this file is, but I will, I'll just ask. Hey, can you document this file a little more deeply? I might have some folks in my audience who need a slower walkthrough than what the current slower, I'm not trying to call out slower, more thorough walkthrough than what the current documentation in the file provides. Please write up a markdown document walking through this code and explaining it to a true novice in succinct but informative explanations. See what it does. So it took my workspace. I think that it's using show me your references. Wait. No, it's gonna write the whole thing. Yeah, okay. I mean, it's doing it. I will provide that with the video. We're not gonna watch it. We're not gonna read it right here. But if you are curious about going deeper after that walkthrough, here you go. Made for you. I'll copy that out somewhere. I should, before I forget, I will click this. Where's the copy button? Is it at the bottom? Gimme. I want it. Maybe just right click, copy. Cool. I'll just save that out somewhere. Cool. So, let's do a revision of this code. We know that now that, so it includes the workspace, and right now it has 2 different lines. That's interesting. 1 through 57 and 86 through 92. Why did it do that? This is strange. Did you split it up, my dude? When does 57 stop? Did it stop after the markers? Does it explain the markers? No, I think it's weird. I will not post this exactly. What did you do, man? He got very confused. So, this is one of the pitfalls. This is why I'm leaving it in, right? Like, sometimes things don't go exactly what you thought. And I would like to take this and start fresh. Something was wrong with what it received of this text file. I'm going to just try and hit enter again and see what it starts with. 2 references. Why are you using 2 references? That's so strange. Don't do the whole thing. Did it again. It's like it keeps editing something out. Okay. I don't know why that's happening. That's annoying. So let me start over. Paste this. I'm going to explicitly attach the file of the current editor. Do that. Don't split it up for whatever reason you keep trying to split it up. Styles. It didn't skip styles. It's got the... Oh, interesting. Style sheet for leaflet. That's neat. Map container. Yeah, this seems a little bit better. Markers. Map on. Yeah. It didn't conclude the walkthrough. Let's do... Looks like it kind of stopped. We'll see. Whatever. I will work up a quick walkthrough just because that seems like a useful thing. I'm a little confused at why it keeps slowing. It keeps running out of things to say. It's like there's only so many lines here. So, okay. We'll do a new chat. And what we're working at now is that we want... Oops, I want to shrink that. Oh. It has been wide. Dang. My impulse just to widen this window. My apologies. Okay. So we have this app. It's not very flashy, and it's a little janky to interact with. Hey, can you revise this to include, you know what? Let's do this part ourselves. Something I wanted to show off. We can do sort of a major revision edit soon. It doesn't really matter what order we do these things in entirely. You can always be making progress one way or another. And what I would like to do is I want to add a feature, something relatively simple, I think. And I want to use the inline editor to make it happen. So let's have it be, I want to have a way to take whatever this data is, the current weather code, and convert that weather code into some kind of like emoji or something, right? So something that this is a simple function I've just decided on the fly would be a good thing to add, because right now weather code 0 means nothing and weather code 3 means nothing. I haven't looked up what those mean, and I absolutely can. I'm gonna wing it because I think the model knows what the codes mean. Like, if it knows the API enough to get it right on the first try, it probably knows what the codes mean. So, what I'm trying to define right now is a single function that will add something new, right? So I'm just gonna say similar format, right? So, function to remove markers and weather data. Hey, welcome inline text completion. This is our first time seeing that in this video. And that is Copilot's default package is the inline text completion. And that has continuous access to your current code and some of your code base if you're working in a code base. This is a single file, so we're not really doing anything interesting like that. But this is, I can now just say function to, see again, it's giving me a decent idea. It's like, hey, that's something you're missing. You don't have like a reset button. You know what? Screw it. I will actually take that. And while I'm not going to use that right this second, oh, you know what? What if on the third click, we get rid of them both? And it clears them. Great. Love it. So how about else? Look at that. So it had this idea for us, and I bit, the text completion was like, oh, you're adding a new function? Here's a thought, because it's automatically pumping out things that would make sense in Code World. So I said, go for it. Now, I did look at the preview and I inspected it visually to think, okay, is this good? And yeah, it's fine. If marker 1 exists, delete it from the map, make the marker back to pointing at nothing instead of having an actual piece of content, an object, and clear the inner HTML of the weather panel. It did it instantly. Because of course it did. Because that's the only way you would do that in this code base, right? That's the kind of stuff we're picking up speed from with this, right? There was only one real answer for this. Now, you could do it other ways, of course, and there's probably better ways, of course. If you know those ways, use them. Revise this. Tell it, no, bad dog. Use local state. No, whatever. I don't even want to do that. So this is good though. So what I'm adding in here. Okay, wait. Pause. I've gotten ahead of myself. What are we doing? We are adding a clear markers functionality so that the third time I click, it clears the markers, and then we sort of it resets. Because right now, let me reload the page. Oh, it's broken. Why is it broken? What did we do? We will get right back to this clear markers thing. I'm also going to leave a quick note that I wanted to add the function to, the emoji weather code function. Not gonna let it complete. This is another pattern that you want to pay attention to in these things, and that is debugging. I broke the code, guaranteed, big time. Hang on, I got too squishy again. I totally broke the code. It's broken. What happened, you might ask? Well, you go to your console and you talk about that. Now, this is just the output of the console. So first, layout was forced before the page. This is a warning. Yellow is warning. I'm not worried about yellows. I am worried about reds. So this is mad. The code is mad. And the question is, pourquoi? What is the problem? What could have gone wrong, code? And we see uncaught syntax error, expected expression, got bracket. So if I, in line 70, character 9, line 70, character 9, aw shit, I didn't finish this else. Easy to do, simple error, but let's talk to the robot about it. Let me copy the message, the error message, out of the console. And I know the answer. I broke it, and I left it broken intentionally. But let's talk to the robot about what's going on here. I'm going to click the attach button again, add the current editor, and then I'm going to paste uncaught syntax error, help me. We know, I just read to you exactly how to read this error, right? It expected something and instead got a curly brace like delimiter, which is not what it wanted. And it broke. The syntax of the code is not correct. It will not run. And we can read we know which file, we know what line, we know what character. The AI also knows what file, line, and character, and if you're giving it the file, you're giving it a lot of context. Let's see what it says. Error is due to an incomplete else block. Yeah, damn Skippy. So map onClick function, you need to either complete the else block or remove it. Here's the corrected code. Wait, so what did it do? Try not to squish the thingy. I'm not sure what that part is. Yeah, it just removed the else. No, I don't want this in my code. I'm the one who did it. But that's the pattern that you can follow. Anytime that you're really not sure what's going on with an error, if nothing else, you can just ask the model to like explain the error. You don't even need it to fully explain like exactly how it thinks your code is broken. If you know, if you don't trust it that far, maybe if you're working on something like that. But yeah, so we left this else statement empty because that's silly. What we want is clear the markers, right? So it's actually suggesting a different pattern. It's suggesting if both markers are placed, clear them, and then immediately place another marker. I think I'll just have it be here. I'll hit tab and accept the option, but I'm just going to delete these two ideas. So now, oops, are we good? I think we're good. We have an if this happens, if we don't have a second marker, and otherwise clear them. Let's see if that fixes the code. No more errors in the console. Lovely. Click, 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 click. Much better experience. Yay! And that was because I chased something that the model threw out there. Now, not suggesting that that's something you do all the time, but this is kind of one of the benefits of having the model right there, suggesting line completions. Now, it can be freaking distracting, so you can always turn the critter off. You can say, I think you can adjust the settings. It's not a bad idea to do sometimes, right? Because you don't always want the peanut gallery's suggestions for what you're writing. But it's often good to have around because you can do things like this. You can explain a function. Now, hold on. It doesn't know weather code function, weather codes from OpenMedio. So interesting. This is certainly not giving us a weather code. That's not a number. And this thing is suggesting that the weather codes might be. Here, we'll just take it for now so I don't keep having it disappear on us. So this is what I was looking for, right? This is the idea. We want to know if it's clear sky, few clouds, whatever. And we want to display that instead. But that's not, I don't think that's going to work. Let's find out. So right now, what I'm going to do? Just a simple code thing. I'm going to reload the page. I'm just going to say, the weather code should be, this is expecting it to be like a string, right? So this is a switch case, so it's like a big fat if. Much more efficient than if. The weather code coming in, we don't have it typed or anything. So let's just do, I'm going to say get emoji weather code, and we're going to pass it that data. Because that's what we want. But I don't think it's going to work. Let's try. Oh, it did work. Interesting. I didn't know. Wait, it gave us the world? Oh, because the default case is the world. Okay. So the case, it's working, the code is executing, but it's broken. So let's get a tip from the AI first. This is a good way to debug. You say, I'll attach the current editor, and I'll say, hey, clearly the emoji function here wants a string, but the OpenMedio API is returning integers. Ideas? Does it? Oh wait, buddy, what are you doing? Oh my god, this is such a heavy duty. Is that right? Okay. please just write me a new emoji function that takes those integers. We might get away without even having to look at the API. We should. You know, some of this is like teaching laziness, but it's also teaching productivity when you're not necessarily at 100%. So let's go for it. Let's make the damn thing happen. I'm gonna take this function. Oh. How many tabs in are you, buddy? I'll just copy it and see what happens. Control C, not save. Poo-poo. I'm just gonna do the classic cut and paste. Save that one and see what we should do. Oh, it exploded. Oh, because this was named from int. I was just trying to rewrite it. So, this function should work. Pop. Let's see. It's sunny cloud, or it's moony cloudy in, what is that? Oh yeah, look at that. Oh look, I didn't even realize there was so just nice, like, zooming in. How's it going, Detroit? How's it going, Kansas? Oh, how's it going, Kansas? How's it going, Detroit? Both sunny. That seems... Is that possible? Is it sunny here? Yeah, it is cloudy here. What's it doing in Seattle? We all know the answer. Oh, it's sunny. How about Portland? Oh, it's sunny. Nice. Look, I've made a dumb tool that I've gotten myself curious about. Great. So that's another pattern. So we've done some debugging. We've done some like describing a function in the comments, and we've done, you know, the idea of documenting code. Yeah, I think that honestly I've landed on a place where this feels pretty cool to have messed with. We might just call it here and call this a success of, you know, building something that I didn't even set out to build. We'll close the chat for a second. So ultimately, this is a pretty simple web page. You know what? Let's do some. Let's get funky. Let's do some like nonsense. I'll do. Hey, make this whole page have more of a vaporwave aesthetic with some fade-in animations and stuff. And I'm just gonna let it run with that. At a super high level, defining an aesthetic that I would like to see represented in the page. Also, use more standard design principles for all the inputs and cards and such, which don't even exist yet, but I'm sort of implying that's the direction we're going. So let's see. I didn't include the full text file, and it's gonna be dumb about it, I think. That's so strange that it doesn't. Does it not see this code because it's like it's worried? That's wild. I'm gonna copy and paste it. Let's try that. That's something that's been. Oh wait. Let me see my history. I guess for now, let me just take the dang code that it wrote me, and let's edit our look. Oh, look at that! Look at that! Much more multiverse in style. Boom, boom. There we go. Nice. You know, and it took very little time. And you know, this would be, you know, you don't want the model to be replacing you creatively entirely, but again, launching you like 70% of the way towards something you're working on. And you can do a lot of lily pad skipping in that. So, yeah, this is a simple file. We have used a few different basic techniques to make it happen, and you know, I could keep jamming on this. I can just keep iterating. I can keep adding new functions. I can keep adding new ideas. You know, you can sort of expand into using this outside of a single standalone page, of course. Yeah. I think one last thing to be aware of in this space, right, is I didn't want to show you this at the start because this is about coding with the AI, but it's also important to see V0. Hey, make me a web app that takes the data from 2 different locations on a world map and fetches their current weather from I'll even keep using OpenMedio just because that's the one we've been talking about, and compares them. Oh no, I'm not signed in. Wait, I can do this in a different new tab. V0 is a super interesting tool that is excellent for rapid prototyping. By default, it's using web app framework React, famously. It's using a bunch of modern techniques. It's prompted with a ton of documentation. I think it may be trained, probably not. I think it's another OpenAI at the core. Like I think it's using GPT-4 to do the writing. It could be using Claude, I'm not sure. Okay, so here's the little app that it has made. Can I close this guy? Yeah. Oh wait, I can do full screen of it. Great. Compare the weather. Look at that. Now, it did this in a single step. We didn't have to like brainstorm our way through this, but we also knew what we were doing, right? And that's sort of the vibe with all of this. If you know how to do the thing, then this thing can save you so much time. If you don't know how to do the thing, probably focus on learning to do the thing, which the tool can also help you do, right? It's able to show you around some of the code that you're new to. You would be able to ask it endless questions about like, hey, why did you do this? Why did you arrange this here? Why did you not put this somewhere else? It's infinitely patient. It never gets frustrated. Oh, that's a stupid question. It's always like, yeah, let me help. So, I'm gonna format a document. It's got a little funky. But yeah, here's another simple little app. So V0, again, it's just like, it's very cool. You can do this same stuff that we just did, just kind of zoomed out even farther. Now, something to know about V0, though, is that it doesn't have an editor. Oh, you can change things now. Oh, when did that happen? Well, good on them. Well, that's actually great. That means you can really mess around in there. But I think this is a very specific use case. This is for you developing some kind of front end something or other. That can be super useful. You should just use this thing. Like, jam on this. Treat it like pottery, man. Do it. But on the flip side, knowing what you're doing while programming comes from doing programming. You're not going to become better at this code unless you are doing it. Sometimes typing it yourself. Sometimes editing what the AI has spit out. And this is sort of the space that you're in, right? You have this extreme domain expert on your hip all the time. It's never gets tired, never gets annoyed, and it's like super motivated to help out. And having it along for the ride while you are doing something that you're sort of like only sort of like expertise at is really a powerful pattern. I think a key thing to keep in mind is it's all about human-centered interaction with these AI models. That's the best case, is you and it tag teaming something. end of the day, you're still responsible for what it outputs, and you are the one in charge. And it's a great tool, but it is ultimately a tool. So, yeah, that's a few ways. If I come up with other ones, I'll append them and talk about them more in a different format or something, follow-up video. But yeah, I think this is a good transition point. So let's go back to Big Face. Wait, let's say goodbye to the app we made. No, not that one. No, hell yeah, the weather comparison app, far better than Jacket or Not. So yeah, this is the tool set. Something I didn't mention at the start is the two plugins you want to make this happen is GitHub Copilot and GitHub Copilot Chat. Those are the two main modalities you use. Copilot is the one that does the inline completions by default, and Copilot Chat is the additional edition of the chat on the sidebar. You have to sign up. You got to go to GitHub, get a GitHub account. You got to make sure it's, copacetic. And then you log into your GitHub account through this, and it just works. Copilot is free, as far as I understand it. So they're totally stealing your data. GitHub too. Everybody eats everybody's data. So keep that in mind as you work with this. There are tons of options out there. You can use other tools. You can use local language models, and they're getting really freaking good. Not quite there yet in terms of ease of access, but they're getting better all the time. So you can work with AI locally, air-gapped, doesn't belong to anybody else, runs on a machine that you have control over. Near future. But for now, this nice free version is an easy way to kind of like push into the waters here. Other things to note is that the main idea with avoiding the AI getting confused or walking you into a bad path of decisions or something, make it ground itself a lot. So execute the code that it gives you and see if you like it or not, or if it's broken or not. Ask it for references, like, hey, where should I look to look into this deeper? Don't just trust everything it says to you. It's a thinking tool, but it is not a very robust. It hallucinates sometimes. That's part of the functionality of these models. Their sort of core design. But yeah. Anyway, it's been fun. I think this was a good use of workshop energy, and I hope you get something out of it. Take care.